Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be going over the brand new weapon that came out recently, the Epitaph Prime. Now in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits. Meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. That would be things like Warframes using abilities, pets putting statuses on enemies, things like that. I just test the weapon built out by itself, and I let the viewer make their own intelligent conclusion about adding those external things. Alrighty, so the Epitaph Prime was recommended to us by commenter Finzo Tigro Hick 59. So that's why we're doing it today. I was going to do it regardless because it's a new weapon, so I wanted to try to get a lot of the new stuff out this week. The only thing that probably won't come out this week is a Sevagoth build, but I'll add that to the list for maybe next week or the week after. This week I want to do a Ember build at the end of the week. So Sevagoth might be next week, possibly. Alright, we have the top commenter of the last video, a Gingerbeard, and the first commenter of the last video, Roban. Okay, so the Epitaph Prime is this little arm cannon secondary. It's a pretty cool weapon. A lot of people are saying this is pretty ugly and gaudy compared to the first one, but I thought the regular non-Prime Epitaph was pretty boring and ugly looking, so I mean this is kind of gaudy and ugly also, but I think it's a little bit better than the first one. Something important about this weapon is that I'm going to have to do two videos on this. So there's going to be a part 1 and a part 2. And it's because the Epitaph is effectively two different weapons. You have a charged shot, which is like a rail gun that punches through enemies. And then you have its normal quick shot, which is a AoE status weapon. So they're both very different weapons, and they're both built out very differently. And so it's effectively two weapons, which I guess is kind of a cool thing, because if you get the Epitaph Prime, you pretty much have two different ways of using this thing. So today, the build is going to be more focused on the railgun mode, the charged railgun mode of the Epitaph. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call the charged one the railgun mode, and then the uncharged is the AoE status mode. That'll be easy for people to remember, and myself too. So let's get into Epitaph Prime here. So we're going over the charge shot today, and I want to go over interesting things about the Epitaph Prime. So the both modes, both the charge shot and the AoE mode, are going to have guaranteed cold procs on direct or radial hits. So if you're using the first AoE mode, radials also have guaranteed cold procs. And then guaranteed impact procs on direct hits. So both modes, now of course the AoE mode, the AoE won't get forced impact procs, but the dude you hit will. Alright. And now specifically for each mode, the AoE mode is going to have innate blast on the radial attack of it, and it's going to have a 10-meter radial range. So that's the AoE mode. Now the charged railgun mode, what we're going over today, is going to have an innate 2-meter punch through. Okay? So what we're going over today is the 2-meter punch through, the guaranteed cold procs on hits, and the guaranteed impact procs on hits. Okay, so I'm going to actually scroll down to where the charge shot is down here. You can see the charge shot has very, very high crit chance, very, very, very high crit multiplier. Kind of poor starting status chance. I mean, we have two 60/60s on it, and it's still only 30%, so the status chance is not that great. And then we look at the quick shot, it's kind of the opposite, where the critical chance is complete garbage, but the status chance is really good. And that's what I'm saying. They're two completely different weapons, basically. Which is annoying because you can't really use one effectively while being built out for the other, but it's cool because you kind of get two weapons in one. So, okay. So I think we're ready to go over the mods here. So we're going to have Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Galvanized Crosshairs for critical chance, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and multi-shot, Hemorrhage. So let me read this off here. Impact status effects have a 35% chance to apply a slash status effect, and you get ×2 when the fire rate is below 2.5. Well, this weapon Hemorrhage is a really good mod, but there are a few like boxes that need to be checked for it to actually be useful. The weapon needs to usually either have forced impact procs or have like a really high impact element weighting. And it usually needs to be a slow firing weapon. It needs to be under that 2.5 fire rate so you can get double the effect. So there's going to be something very important on this build for us to actually activate Hemorrhage. I'm going to go to the next mod here, Creeping Bullseye. So Creeping Bullseye, we have 200% crit chance and negative 20% fire rate. That negative fire rate is actually important for us because we need to be able to activate Hemorrhage. Or I should say Hemorrhage is activated, but if you read that bottom part of it, for us to get that 2 times effect, we need to have a fire rate below 2.5. With Creeping Bullseye, our fire rate, if we scroll up here, is 2.45, so just barely under 2.5. So if you didn't have Creeping Bullseye, you couldn't achieve this. Or if you decided to use the other primed, so instead of the crit damage, where is it? It's the Prime Pistol Gambit. This one here, this critical chance mod. So if you use Prime Pistol Gambit instead of Creeping Bullseye, you would also be over your 2.5 number there. So Creeping Bullseye is what helps us get double the effect of Hemorrhage. So make sure you're using both of those. All right. Now we're going to have Primed Target Cracker for critical damage. And we're going to go with 2 60/60s to make viral. So we're going to have the 60/60 Toxin and the 60/60 Cold to make viral. This is a higher alpha damage weapon. It will also probably work quite well with Gas or Blast. However, because of Hemorrhage and its very high slash like value you can get out of it, that combos extremely well with Viral. So Viral and Slash, very powerful. This is a very powerful weapon, so the slash procs, even if there's only a couple of slash procs on an enemy, they're going to be doing a crap load of damage. And so it's a very powerful combo, Viral and Slash. If for some reason you didn't have Hemorrhage or you didn't have Creeping Bullseye or, you know, the things to kind of make that combo wombo there, you could probably consider things like Blast or Gas, because Blast and Gas are usually typically really good on high alpha damage weapons like this one, like the Charge Shot mode, I should say. All right, so in the Exilus slot, this is a crappy one. There's not really a lot of good mods for the Epitaph, and it kind of starts in the wrong polarity. So they start you with a dash polarity, but what the Charged Shot wants is either nothing or Spry Sights, which is a V. And what the Status Primer wants is a V with Lethal Momentum. So it's like there's not much as far as dashes. Like, you don't really need ammo for the Epitaph. It shoots kind of slow, and you pick up ammo pretty decently with it. You don't need the recoil reduction, so you don't really need much. I mean, honestly, even on the status build, you probably don't even need projectile speed. So for the Exilus, you would either just leave it empty if you want to save space or if you're cheap. But if you want to min-max it, Spry Sights for the charged mode is okay. I mean, it's not amazing. It's going to make you move a little bit quicker when you're aiming. You're going to be aiming in because of Galvanized Crosshair and Secondary Deadhead, so it makes sense, but is it a huge boost? Not really. Barely noticeable. So it's up to you whether you want to form this slot to make it fit with Spry Sights, or if you just want to overform one of the other slots to fit it, like I did here. You see how it's a different polarity than the one that's there. So, and then in the Arcane slot, we're going to go with Secondary Deadhead. Secondary Deadhead is a 360% damage increase, a 30% headshot multiplier increase, and a negative 50% weapon recoil. We don't really care too much about the weapon recoil, but the other stuff is pretty cool. So that is how you build out the Epitaph Primed. Again, tomorrow we'll go over the status primer. And I'm also doing a test on status damage. I'm doing a status damage build. I don't know how well it's going to do. The normal Epitaph, like the status damage builds, were pretty crappy compared to the Charge Shot. you basically either built it for priming with the AoE or you built it for damage with the charge shot. So I'm just going to do a little bit of testing to see if like the AoE damage build is viable because of the primed version. Probably not, but we'll see. I'll throw that into the video tomorrow when I do that. So tomorrow will be the status primer, and then I'll throw like my results of testing in with this. If it's good results, then I'll have it actually as part of the video. But if it's not good results and it's kind of crappy, I'll just have like a little spreadsheet that'll show you like the kill numbers. All right. So I want to show this off in about 10 minutes of Mott on Steel Path. And because I only show the weapon built out with no externals, I'm going to be doing this on a big dumb Inaros with no Archon shards that increase weapon performance, no mods or arcanes on the Inaros that increase weapon performance, and with a pet with no sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon performance. Alrighty, let's get into this here. Make sure I'm on solo, Steel Path, Mott.
Your enemies have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
I'm going to cough real quick. One moment. I'm sorry. All right. Sorry about that. So before we start, I just want to show these off real quick. So we have the non-charged shot, which is you just tap your left click, and it shoots a little explosive out. It's got a pretty big AoE. Like I said, 10 meters. That's pretty big. And with the primer build tomorrow, we can actually use prime fulmination, and that kicks it out even more. So that'll be pretty cool. But what we're going to be doing for this build is the charged shot. So it's like a rail gun that shoots through targets. So there's no AoE on that.
Life support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support.
Just fell down the stairs. Now I'm stuck on the awning there. It's just starting swimmingly. I was testing out Secondary Shiver, too. That's another arcane that can be used for the Epitaph. I don't like it as much as Deadhead. It's technically a little bit more damage than Deadhead, but like you need to actually have like cold stacked up on the target. And because this is a slow-firing weapon, it's kind of meh. Like usually by the time you're at those stacks of cold, the dude's dead already. So I feel like Secondary Deadhead, even though it's boring, it's a mod that goes on like almost all weapons, like it still is kind of the best one on this one. Any punch through weapon, you're trying to line targets up. Of course, I got the worst room to be in because these stupid traps that cause the enemies to get stuck places. I think I destroyed all the traps. Let me see in this. Yeah, there's none over there. Okay.
Look at them. They come to this place when they know.
So it's going to be pretty much a red crit build if you're good at headshots. If you're not so good at headshots, it's going to kind of turn into like an orange and red crit build. But if you're decent at headshots and you're able to maintain 4 or 5 stacks of scope, it'll be a red crit build.
This day did I not prophesize this moment?
Now, the charge shot mode does kind of suffer the same thing as the non-prime version of the Epitaph, where it is extremely powerful. You're basically going to kill everything you hit in one shot, especially when you're at full conditionals. It's just a bit slow, so it's hard to compete with weapons that have, like, large kill per minute numbers, like the Exceltra or the Torrid or something like that. So each individual shot is, you know, really powerful, but just kind of slow. Kind of slow to fire.
Is temporary. My existence is forever. I cannot be destroyed.
It's still a valid weapon, though. It's still a valid Steel Path viable weapon. just a bit on the slower side. It's not a huge kill per minute weapon. I'm going to guess we'll probably see about 500 or 600 kills at the end. Where a lot of, like, the really powerful weapons we've done have been, like, 1100, 1200. And again, it's not because this one is not powerful, it's just because it is a slower weapon. You're going to try to, like, up your kill per minute numbers if you line enemies up, because of course you're killing multiple enemies then. But you can't always line enemies up. You know, not every engagement is going to be a linear hallway engagement. And as you see here, we're already getting starved on life support. So I'm going to run over to the first set of life supports here. And that's just because our kill per minute numbers are kind of lacking. So we're not able to farm the yellow life supports that the dudes drop. So we'll hit 2 of these and we'll try to get back to killing. This is a good linear hallway from where they're coming down there. Once they start respawning, though, they'll be coming from other directions. Four hits? Oh, he had his invulnerability up. It would have been 4 hits on the Acolyte. That's the 4th hit. Well, technically 5, although 1 shot was when he was invuln.
When you are ready, go to extraction.
The Epitaph is usually seen more as like an actual primer. Like the damage build, though, I think is okay. I like the damage build of the Epitaph. It's just slow. But I feel like the primer version of the Epitaph, the one we'll do tomorrow, is going to be more useful. It's going to be something that you'll consider in a lot of like your top tier builds, more than you'll consider the charge shot mode as a damage source. Because even on, like, really slash-heavy Warframes, like think of Ashe, for instance, who gets a little bit more value out of slash than others, I would still probably pick other weapons. Like, if you want a slow weapon on Ashe, pick the Nagantaka. That thing is crazy. But even that, though, there's still better weapons in that for Ashe. Now, the primer build, fortunately, has pretty much the same polarities. I don't think we have a dash, though. I don't think the primer build is going to have a dash, if I remember correctly. So it'll be pretty much all V polarities. So you could just throw a bunch of V formers in, and you'll be set up for the primer build. Or just wait till tomorrow, and I'll have that build up tomorrow. I want to do a little bit more testing with it, though, before I put it out. I want to kind of get a... I want to have like a spreadsheet where, you know, like you get this many statuses per minute with this one mod, and you get this many statuses per minute with this other mod. Because there is like one mod you can make a difference on that might change what you want to do with it. Like, do you want status duration, or do you want to be able to two-tap the Epitaph before you go to shooting? So, like, there is, like, a one-mod side grade on the primer build. And I want to try out the damage build too, the status damage build. I don't think it's going to be as good as this one. Not that this one is going to be amazing. This one's not very amazing either. I just don't think the status damage build will beat this one. I could be wrong though. Come on, put the mag bubble on me. There we go. I didn't want to down myself with a big old epitaph shot. There we go. But I have some testing to do with the status build too. Or the damage build, the status damage build. Because I don't know if I want to go viral heat or viral electric, or if I want to go gas electric with secondary elementalist or whatever it's called, pistol elementalist. So I have to do some kind of side-by-side testing between those two. Alright, we're going to hit this one right here. And we got about 30 seconds of slaying left. We'll try to get our damage numbers up. Or kill numbers, I should say. We lost a few galvanized scope stacks, so that we're back into the oranges a bit. We'll try to get some headshots here, and we're back in reds. There we go, 10 minutes. All right, let's find where the exit is, right over here. And let's look. 482. Okay, it didn't hit. I was thinking 5 or 6. It didn't even hit 5. It hit 482. Okay. Again, it's powerful per shot, but it's slow. It's a slow weapon.
Your will was greater. This is good.
So, 482 or 84, what was it? 482. Okay, so we'll see. We'll see tomorrow if the status damage build will beat that. It might. On starter steel path, it might do enough damage to actually beat out that then. We'll see. But I think that the charge shot build, though, will scale better into later steel path. Just because of the huge slash proc. So you can't get a lot of value out of gigantic slash procs on starter steel path because they just die to like 1 tick. Like everyone. So you get more value out of them later on. So the status damage build might beat out the charged build initially. Like it might beat the starter steel path on starter steel path. So for the status damage build right now, I'm still working on it, and there's still a lot of testing to be done. I don't know if I want to go with viral heat with pistol elementalist, or go full heat with the 60/60 and the prime mod, or the same thing with electric, or not even use viral and go gas electric with elementalist and not use hornet strike. So we'll have to see. Status primer I'm pretty set. There's like 1 mod difference I got to mess with, but yeah, that's the build for today. That's the Epitaph Prime charged shot mode. So look out for the video tomorrow for the primer build. So if you guys like the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. All right, bye.